Hello guys, welcome back to Data Forge by Piyush. So today we are going to learn about one new file format, that is the Apache Parquet. We will cover everything about the Parquet, what is the Parquet, what is the internal data storing technique in Parquet, what is the difference between Parquet and the other file format which we usually use, that is the CSV, and what is the technically difference between both of these files. And we will perform some real-time examples, real-time code to write any kind of data in Parquet file format, and we will see that how that file is written and what is the format of writing data into Parquet file. So everything we are going to cover in this video for today. So let's start. So Parquet is basically an open source column oriented file format that stores tabular data efficiently. So basically this Parquet file format is used for your structured data format. Structured means when you have data in a tabular format, row columnar format. So reading only the columns a query needs instead of scanning full rows. So your data in Parquet file is stored in a columnar format. Columnar format means you have seen in a CSV file data is stored in a row format. You start from here left side, you write it employee ID, employee name, employee salary, employee address and other informations. But in Parquet you will find information such as in a columnar format relevant to your one employee. In your one column or first row, first cell, it will be employee ID. Second row, first cell, it will be your employee name. Third row, first cell, it will be your employee salary. This kind of columns you are going to get in this Parquet file format. So that is how this is called the columnar file format. So now if we come to the difference between Parquet and CSV. So going into theoretical part or theoretically difference between both of them, what I have extracted is based on the experience. I have written down some differentiate features. Based on that you can actually compare in a numerical manner. That is something, if I have approx 10 millions of rows in my data, and if I try to store in a CSV and versus in a Parquet file, then what will be the difference in both of them? Let's see in the next slide. So this is the result data set or comparison sheet when you are using CSV versus Parquet for storing data of your 10 millions of rows. Same exactly rows, only storing technique is getting different here. When you try to store your data 10 millions of rows in a CSV file format, that is getting stored in a 100 GB. So your file size is 100 GB when you are trying to store 10 millions of rows in a CSV. On the same way, when you are trying to store in a Parquet file format, it is getting stored as a 30 GB data size or 30 GB file size. So there's something 70% of storing space you are saving when you are writing data into your Parquet file. So this is how when you are writing the data in a Parquet, you can save approx 70% of your space storage. This all the features I have covered for only 10 millions of rows, same data set. So all of these features are compared based on that 10 millions rows only. So next time when you try to read the full data means you just do the select all from this file. So your CSV file is going to take 378 seconds. While you are reading the data from the Parquet file, this only takes 29 seconds. Approx Parquet is 13 times faster than your CSV. So all of this is performed with the real life example or real time data set. Query or scan the data. You know, when you are reading this data, when you are filtering, joining this data set with the another data frame and all, then your data is getting scanned in the file. So approx 117 GB of scan data is performed when you are using CSV. While with the Parquet, this is only 2.69. That means 99% less scanned data. That is something when you are trying to find out the salary of one particular employee, then in CSV this is going to scan 117 GB of data, while in Parquet only 2.69 GB. And storage cost also you can see per month is $2.30, while for this Parquet is 0.69, approx $1.59 we have saved while storing data in our Parquet file format. So this is the difference because of this data size. Parquet only stores compress the data actually and store it as a 30 GB size, while CSV is just storing all of the rows and column in a file in a row format with the 100 GB file size. That is why there is a difference in the cost also. Data size versus cost. Higher data, higher cost. Lesser data, lesser cost. You can see this is the difference. So let's move forward and see what is the theoretically difference between these both of the files. So this is something we have understood or learned how you can compare your CSV and Parquet in a numerical, in a saving perspective, or how Parquet is better performing than your CSV file format. So this is the CSV versus Parquet. So CSV is the this is the row format, while Parquet is your columnar file format. In CSV, this all is stored in a text format, while in a Parquet it is stored in a compressed manner columnar format. So in Parquet file format, data is actually getting compressed, but in CSV, no. File size, obviously we have seen file size is larger in CSV, that is approx 100 GB, while in the Parquet that is only 30 GB. Analytics, you can see reading time in CSV was 378 second, while in Parquet it was 29 second only. So there we have saved 13 times. Parquet is faster than your CSV. Schema or types, you can see in CSV no schema, no text or that kind of data is stored, while in Parquet it is a structured schema based on data is stored. So this is basically the difference between your CSV and Parquet file format. Now let's understand how data is stored in a Parquet file. So this is the Parquet internal flow, like how data is how 10 millions of rows are stored in a Parquet. So it is actually compressed in a 30 GB, better performance, less cost, and so many other benefits of using Parquet file. So how data is actually stored here. This is how you can see. This is the sample data set. We have 6 rows, or we have earlier we had 10 million rows. So now we are just performing this action with the 6 rows only. Those 6 rows basically are getting grouped together. So you can see group together means grouping of the rows. So 1, 2, 3, those rows are getting grouped. 5, 4, 5, 6, that is getting grouped. You can see this is your 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. So as a first step, your rows are actually getting grouped. While as a second step, they are getting in a column chunk. You can see this is the ID, this is the name, age, city and salary. All of this is stored in a different columns. Means first of all we have divided data in a row format, then in a columnar format. Once we have data in this column chunk, then data is getting stored in a pagination format. That means all your ID is getting in a page of a book. Like this page contains ID from your row group 1. This page contains name from row group 1. So this is how pages are created for your column chunk. And at the last, in each Parquet file, you can find the footer. Footer means footer basically at the last of the Parquet file, on the bottom side of the Parquet file, you will find some metadata of the stored data into that file. That what is the schema of data, what all columns actually does it contain: student id, student name, or employee id, employee name, salary, age, city, and all this kind of metadata schema, your data types, everything is stored in the footer file. Along with that, your maximum and minimum kind of values are also stored. So when you are scanning, so this is the very important line, how Parquet has better performance compared to other file format. So when you are actually scanning the data, it does not scan entire data set. It goes to the footer. It sees if you are trying to see the salary between or greater than 10,000, it will go into the footer. In footer, already there are some values in a maximum and minimum format stored. Minimum salary is 2000, maximum is 7000. When you will query the data set, it will go into footer. It will check if salary is greater than 10,000. It will find the maximum salary stored in this entire Parquet is 7000. It will leave it aside, keep it aside this Parquet file, and it will move into other Parquet file to found out if what all the employees are having salary above than 10,000. Instead of scanning entire data set, it goes into footer, takes some special data from there which are stored in a metadata format, compare it with your query. If your relevant data is stored here, it will scan that Parquet file and pick the correct data for you. If not, it will keep it aside. It will not go inside that file. This is how your Parquet file internal data storing, data scanning works. And that is how the performance of the Parquet file is better, far way better than other file formats. We already have seen our past slide that this is the improvement when you are using Parquet over the CSV. Now let's move to the actually code, how we can store the data and how that data looks into Parquet file. So this is the sample data set which I already have created. So I'm just going to execute this command. Creating this kind of data frames we already have learned in our past videos. So I'm not going into deep of this again. We can see this is the data set I already created. Data frame this is created with the student ID, name, class, subject, marks, attendance, and city. So these many students living in the below cities have this percentage, this many percentage of attendance and these many marks achieved in respective subject. And this is the, you can see, schema of this data frame. Now I am going to write this data frame in the Parquet file format. Writing this data frame, how to write, where to write, and what all precautions we need to take, we already have learned in our past videos. So this has been completed. We can go and see if this location is has been populated correctly or not. We can see as of now there is no such folder called write location Parquet. Let me refresh it. We have executed this writing command as of now. It will come in, so it will be visible now. You can see this folder has been created and this part file is also ready. See, this is the Parquet file format written using our code. This was generated when I executed this writing command, writing this data frame into Parquet file format. But before that, you can see there is snappy also written. So snappy is what? Snappy is the compression type. It means your data is stored in a snappy compression format. So you can see this is the data what we have written here. This is showing in a data frame format, in a row columnar format. But how this actually looks in a internal file, for that we have to actually download this file. I'm downloading this file, and let me open in a notepad. Then we can see how data is stored there, what we already learned in this internal flow, if this is working exactly as it is or not. I have downloaded this file. This file has been downloaded. Let me open it in a notepad. So this is how you can see. This is the part file with the snap compression, and you can see this is how data is actually stored in a Parquet format. In this volume format, you were seeing in a data frame manner, because Databricks has actually inferred the schema. It has inferred a format everything for you, so you can actually see only correct data instead of the internal work items behind this. So behind the scene, you can see this is how your data is stored. You can see this is 105, 101. This is the one group of row, your 101 ID and 105 ID, and this is the other way your data is stored. On the footer side, you can see this is the schema of your data is. So student ID, yes, we do have student name, and these all the columns we definitely have in our data frame. So this is basically the schema of your data set. This is your footer of the file. Above that, everything is data. You can see science, English. Reading this is way difficult in a notepad, because Parquet is not designed to read in a notepad. And this is your, again, other metadata collection is stored in a footer of this file. So this is how your data is stored in a Parquet file format, which we already learned as part of internal of the Parquet.